So here is option A for my Whitney trip that I'm going to be taking. It is my ULA circuit, and it is currently packed like as if I were going to be going to Mount Whitney. This is the Whitney kit right here. I'll explain what's going on with this guy in just a second. We're going to go ahead and move him to the side. But essentially what you see here is what I plan to take to Whitney. You guys have seen these guys before. The Lakey cork light with the integrated GoPro over there, that's so far worked out great for me. I'm going to keep using it, and that's going to be my primary camera when I go to Mount Whitney. The pad that I'm going to be taking is a Thermarest Z-Lite. What I did over here, the normal shock cord that comes with a ULA circuit, I didn't think was long enough. So I went ahead and I just went to REI and I bought some shock cord and basically just made a longer shock cord area, and I split this guy in half and I attached it to the back. This is a Z-Lite full size one, just split in half and attached to the back of the ULA circuit with a longer piece of shock cord. I thought that that system was a little bit better than putting it inside the pack or going across. That's how I initially had it, was across, but I think this is a lot smoother setup. So let me go ahead and take this guy out of here. Okay, so right off the bat, right here, this is my electronics bag. This is in a Tyvek baggie that I made. Basically what I got in here is I'm going to have my power bank that I'm going to take with me. Okay. It looks like it's a Uniden, what is this thing? I always forget, 4,000 milliamp. So that can reload these batteries that I have here for my GoPro. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be fine with the 3 GoPro batteries that I have, but I still want to bring the power bank just in case one of them starts to run dry or they start to run dry. Being that it's a colder environment, batteries don't keep their charge as long. So I want to make sure that I have the power bank with me just in case I need to power these guys up. And actually, I forgot the cable. It's somewhere sitting there in my office. So normally it would be all this stuff, including the cable, that would end up powering these guys. Okay, that's all in the Tyvek baggie right there. Real quick, we'll get the heavier stuff out of the way. What I plan to do is take 2 smart water bottles. There's water everywhere over there on the Whitney Trail, so I'm really not worried about carrying too much water initially. This will be more than adequate for what I need to do, and yeah, that's what I'm basically going to be doing, carrying 2 smart water bottles with 2 liters and filling up as I need. Okay, going further in our kit over here, we have our water purification. I normally use a Katadyn, Hiker Pro, but this time I'm switching to the Sawyer. This is brand new for me. I've never really even tried this guy, but I'm switching to the Sawyer to just go a little bit lighter. Plus, the water is going to be easy to actually process over there at Whitney. That's one of the big things with the Katadyn. The thing that is nice about the Katadyn is that you can go ahead and pump water when you have a very shallow stream. The good thing is with Mount Whitney is that there's adequate water everywhere, so filling up these bags is going to be very easy, and the Sawyer system can work very well in that environment. Had I been going to a place where there's hardly any water, or the water that's there is just a tiny little stream, I certainly would be taking my Katadyn to be able to pump the water to kind of process water faster, but this is going to be more than adequate for Whitney. I have all this stuff put together in a Snow Peak Trek 900 baggie. It's the lightest baggie I could find that's also kind of got the holes in it that'll allow water to kind of dry so it doesn't get all moldy and nasty or something like that in some kind of a different kind of a stuff sack. So that all goes together. Put that on top of there. Okay, the next thing in here are my gloves. I'm just going to keep those on the outside just in case my hands get cold. Put those over there. Inside here, we've got my toiletry kit. So what I got in here, hopefully you can see this stuff. I got some deodorant, I've got a pack towel, I've got some Advil, I've got chapstick, Back here I've got my Leatherman. I've got some wet ones, some Body Glide, pair of tweezers, and my Wisp toothbrushes. And that pretty much makes up my toiletry kit. Along with the ULA circuit, I went ahead and purchased the pack cover for it. I gotten the opportunity to use this guy already once. It was hilarious. Just practice putting your stuff on before you go out in the rain, because it turns out in the rain it's kind of hard to use. I was walking around the city and all of a sudden it started pouring. And I'm like, no problem, I'll just put on my pack cover. And it was like the hardest thing in the world to put this on. You know, I definitely learned as a trial by fire, but probably want to work on that before you take that out into any rain as far as the pack goes. So next thing, we kind of get into our shelter. Here I'm going to have my piece of Tyvek that will go underneath my shelter. That's pretty straightforward. I don't really need to go over that thing. In here we have the tent stakes and the guy line and the main tent pole, the carbon fiber pole for my shelter. Now I have tent stakes in here, but for Whitney we're gonna have to do something unique. I'm actually gonna have to guy out my shelter using tent stakes and guy wire and rocks. So that's going to be pretty fun to learn how to do that on my training trips. But I have both of them, both the tent stakes and the guy wire in there. As I train and do my overnights and stuff, I want to see what kind of works best for me in that situation, so I can kind of develop a system before I get to Whitney trail camp. So I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm not standing there trying to figure out my shelter, you know, at 12,000 feet elevation. Okay. Inside the side pockets here, oh wow, we got a rip here in my hip belt pocket. I need to go talk to ULA about that. They're gonna give me a new hip belt. But inside here, I essentially have my bug net. This is more for like Southern California. I don't anticipate there being very many bugs as far as bugs flying around at 12,000 feet, so I'm not really worried about Whitney. This is more for Southern California. I have my Tough Buff in there. Normally my cell phone would go in on this side also. Okay. Turn the pack over on this side. We have another oops. We've got a secondary light. This is just a cheap light that a buddy of mine got from China. That's allegedly 600 lumens with one AA. It works pretty doggone well, I have to admit. So that's my secondary light. My primary light source, and I know this is not everyone's favorite, but the Black Diamond something, oh, the name escapes me now. But this is that one, oh, the Ion. This is the one where you have to like swipe to turn it on. It's actually pretty good, I like it. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's because they don't know how to use it. I'm just gonna be straight up, dude. I don't think people know how to use this thing correctly. So they badmouth it without really knowing what the heck they're doing. But that's a great light. I like that, man. That thing's light, tiny, it's powerful, works great. I also have some more chapstick and some, sunscreen that's gonna be in this pocket. On the actual shoulder strap itself, I have a whistle, and then also my Purell, obviously, to keep clean. Okay, so getting into the pack. Oh, also one other thing that I have. This one I may not end up using, this little tripod, this wannabe gorilla pod. May use it, may not, I don't know. But I have it on there for training. Whatever weight I can put in here, I'm definitely putting on here to kind of get used to using it. The way I've got my ULA circuit set up, right at the top I have my shelter, which is a 6 Moon Design Lunar Solo. And I want my shelter right at the top just in case this is more just for general backpacking, as a point of good practice. You want to have your shelter somewhere close that you can pitch your shelter as fast as you can just in case there's a rainstorm or something like that. So I have the shelter right on top. Now, the remainder of the kit is basically ready to go. I think I'm going to make some clothes changes. But right now, what is in here is relatively representative of what I'm going to be expecting to use. Inside here, I have a Cuban fiber dry sack from Z-Packs. Now you're wondering to yourself probably, well, why do you have the rain cover and the dry sack in there? Here's the reality. I sweat a lot when I backpack, or rather when I hike. I know that to be a fact. I've certainly seen it when I'm walking around the city with this on. So what I want to do is, in lieu of sweating through the backpack and having my sweat absorb into it and possibly getting my clothes and my sleeping bag wet, I want to use a dry sack on the inside. So I went ahead and I got the custom one from Z-Packs. Okay. It's Cuban fiber. In here, I have my REI Flash 18. This is my Summit pack. Okay. Got my cook kit here. There's a pretty cool video on this thing if you want to see what's in here. I've got my schmog, courtesy of Alan Ibarra. This guy, he's the one who kind of turned me on to it. I always see him using it, and I started looking it up, and this thing's actually pretty cool. You should definitely look into getting one of these. They're called the schmog. Below that, I have my lighter one bear canister. A lot of people wonder about the lighter one, about the screws on there cutting up the inside of the pack. Well, basically you can kind of lift this guy without the screws. As you can see, you just kind of got to tip the side a little bit, but it moves without the screws and it stays on there for the time being. The screws are inside there. When I'm ready to make camp, I can go ahead and put the screws into my lighter one bear canister, and I'm set to go. My food is secure and I don't have to worry about it scratching up the inside of my pack. But that thing is full of the food that I anticipate taking, so I'm able to train appropriately with appropriate weight. The next stuff that is in here is my down jacket. It's just a Jerry down jacket from Costco. Nothing terribly exciting about that guy. I do have a Columbia jacket that I could switch it out with. That's a much thicker jacket. Just depends on the weather, I'm going to be obviously looking at the weather, going up, leading up to that trip. I'm going to see what, I should definitely take, but at the time being, I anticipate taking that jacket right there. Below that, I have what is representative of a shirt that I'll be taking. May not necessarily be this one, but this is representative of the shirt that I'll be taking. My long johns and a pair of layering pants. Okay. Below that, I have my sleeping bag, which is an REI Radiant 20. This is where this thing comes in. Right now, I just had it stuffed into the dry sack, but I'm thinking I may end up putting it in this thing just to compress it a little bit, because it kind of holds the load a little bit better. So I'll put it into this first and then into the dry sack. But yeah, the Radiant 20 is what I'm currently using. All right, so that is my Whitney kit right there. ULA circuit, Radiant 20, various needed accessories. I got my sleeping pad, got my schmog, got my tent and tent pole and stakes, Tyvek, various layers, jacket, shelter, Summit pack, bear canister, and then Z-Packs pack liner. And that's pretty much it. That is my Whitney kit right there.